Madison.
How are you?
I'm so good, thank you. Um, I guess the first place to start is what was the most challenging thing for you? Because you're multiple characters, like it
Mhm.
feels like it would be difficult.
I mean, I think that probably takes the cake for the most challenging, but not, I mean, as far as the characters go, that's the fun part for me, is creating them and making them their own separate people. But the technical side of it, which was the first time I'd ever played twins. So it was a learning experience, but it was much more technical than I thought it was going to be. It's just kind of double everything. You got double the lines, double the time, double the scenes, but it was fun.
And this may be breaking the illusion a little bit. How do you shoot a scene with yourself when it's such an emotional scene?
I mean, you have a really great acting double with you, and who is very much your partner in crime. But it is interesting because like a lot of those emotional moments, in previous work, they're so nice to kind of be present in the moment and have these nuances that come out. But with this type of acting with a twin, everything is very much pre-planned because she needs to know exactly what I'm going to do in the moment. So it was a lot of rehearsals, a lot of figuring it out. But she was so fantastic and great. And honestly, I couldn't have done it without her. So
Well, shout out to her. That's awesome. Um, I'm going to ask you for a personal tip here of like, what would be a practical tip for someone who's feeling overwhelmed? Because I feel like a lot of through line for your character is like, I'm already dealing with enough here, like, which is a relatable feeling.
oh yes, it's very relatable. I'm trying to figure that out in my own personal life right now, I think. But for me, what's helped the most, I think, is really just taking a step back and like looking at your surroundings, appreciating where you are. It's like I feel like it's the five placement rule. Like if you can stand in a room, point out five things you're grateful for that are right in front of your face. And it kind of just, I don't know, just kind of brings you back to reality a little bit because the world is always going to be overwhelming. That's never going to change. So I think it's really trying to find the ways to reground yourself. I think. I don't know. I think.
That's I don't know either. That's great. I'll try that today. That'll be awesome. I'll let you know how I go. Are you any good at keeping a secret?
I'm okay. I'm good at keeping really serious secrets that you would never want me to share with anyone. Yes. If you tell me something really exciting, I get excited and I love to celebrate like my friends and people. So I'm probably not the best person to tell because I do get excited. But
I like I appreciate the honesty. And then lastly to wrap up, is there anything you learned about yourself in this role and kind of job? Because I imagine it is a lot of pressure and a lot of other things and, a petri dish for an environment to learn.
absolutely. And it's interesting you say that too, because I feel like this show for me was probably the biggest learning lesson I've had in my career so far. Just of like, it's just it's so easy to get wrapped up in everything and for things to feel so heavy, kind of what we were talking about before. But it was really just appreciating the small things and appreciating the people around you who love you so much. And television and the industry is so amazing, but at the same time, like what's really important is like who's around you and how you feel and the energy you give back into the world. And so I've been really trying to focus on that, I think. Giving out and then hopefully receiving in return.
I love it. Thank you so much. You're so wonderful. It's such a treat to get to speak to you on each of these projects. So yeah, obviously huge fans here in New Zealand and you're amazing in this. So congratulations.
So nice to talk to you.
Yeah, awesome. See you, Madison. Bye. Are you good at keeping a secret?
No. No. Oh
Right.
God. Yeah. No. Yeah. There's a lot of stories that I have to tell about me poorly keeping a secret. I try though. I swear to God I'm well intentioned. So
I actually really appreciate your honesty. I'm an oversharer. I'm good at keeping other people's secrets, but any of my own, I'm like,
right.
like me.
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah.
same.
Exactly.
I'm the same.
Uh, so this is for both of you. It's a lot of the series is to your characters are dealing with so much on top of the fact that you kind of killed someone. And so I'm curious if you have any tips for that feeling of being overwhelmed, because I think a lot of people, no matter what stage of life they're in, that's such a relatable feeling of like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
honestly, secrets create like a very heavy weight. And if you have, I mean, in this case, there's a group of kids, sharing the same secret. So they do have to lean on one another because those are the only people who really know what they've done. And I think at one point, someone's character says, I think your character, Johnny, says that no one will ever really know you again because you can't tell
Oh,
them.
true.
So when you're overwhelmed, I have to say, telling the truth will always set you free. But if you've killed
Yeah.
someone, you really know what the solution is.
That's all right. Also, there are consequences, and hopefully you do the right thing. Yeah.
I like that. What do you guys think New Zealand audiences will love about this series?
I mean, it's just, I think that the show, you know what? Okay, so New Zealand is beautiful, obviously, and so is Hawaii. And so I think that it'll be really interesting for them to see such a picturesque and scenic location be juxtaposed with such a dark storyline and mystery and secrets. And I think that will be really fun.
Yeah, it's got that some Kiwi humor in there too. There's a little bit of like weird off-kilter moments where you're like, "Oh, that was in the movie," or that was in the series rather. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, you guys hit the nail on the head. Those are the things I loved about it as well. I guess this is also for both of you as a last question to wrap up. The most challenging part for each of you during this process, because it is hard being the lead in a series. It's, time consuming, it's stressful. But yeah, if both of you could speak to the most challenging part, that would be great.
I mean, I had such a lovely time, and you're surrounded by a production and cast and studio that was so supportive and created a safe environment. But I think the depths of which we had to go in terms of emotion, I mean, Sebastian, can speak more on that, but we had to do some things that wouldn't really happen in real life, or we haven't personally experienced in real life. So using our imagination in that way can be a bit difficult.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of moments in the show which were, very taxing on us to literally film, and yeah, it was definitely tough. Just it's real work, like it's not like we're just messing around, having fun, going to parties. Like that party scene was a lot of work. That was every night for a couple weeks, and but I agree with Brianna. I would say the same thing. Yeah.
And I think all the hard work's going to pay off, and the audience is really going to enjoy it.
Yeah.
100%. Well, that's my time. Thank you guys so much. I absolutely loved it. And it was rad.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Cam.
So first of all, Ashley, were you a fan of the original films, or did you go back and watch them in anticipation for this?
No, I was a huge fan. I've watched them many times before even getting the opportunity to film the series. So I was very familiar with the films and huge fan.
Awesome. Ezekiel, how good are you at keeping a secret?
Pretty good.
In real life. You're good?
I'm pretty good. Yeah, I think so.
And then lastly, to wrap up, obviously this is kind of a horror element to it. In New Zealand, we are pretty average. We don't really celebrate Halloween. Is there any tradition or something that New Zealand could adopt that you guys take part in Halloween?
I like to binge on like all the horror movies and just sit in a dark room and watch that and then hand candy out. I don't go to the parties. I don't dress up, never, but that's what I do.
So you are badass. I like this. Ezekiel?
I would say I like to binge on candy in a dark room by myself, dressed up in a costume. Not
By
going
yourself.
by myself. So that's a tradition that you could adopt.
Yeah.
I love that. We're in lockdown at the moment, so we can do that. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I love what I've seen the first 3 episodes. Congratulations.
Thank
you guys
so
deserve
much.
every
It was nice
bit.
talking to you.
You too. See ya.